Hey everyone! Have you ever found yourself in a brand new place where everything feels just a little bit off? Maybe the language sounds like music you can't quite understand, or the street signs look like secret codes. It's that feeling of being both excited and a little lost at the same time. I definitely remember my moment. Imagine this. I'm standing in the middle of a charming Parisian pastry shop, surrounded by the most mouth-watering pastries you can imagine. Flaky croissants, colorful macarons, and tarts that look like works of art. The sweet smell of fresh bread fills the air, and I'm completely overwhelmed by all the delicious choices. All I wanted was a simple croissant, but in my nervous attempt at French, I mixed up my words and somehow ended up with a giant baguette instead. The look of surprise on my face must have been priceless, and the bakery staff couldn't help but chuckle. We've all had those moments, haven't we? Those little slip-ups and cultural mix-ups can be hilarious, awkward, and sometimes even a bit embarrassing, but they make for the best stories later. What's great is that these experiences are also amazing opportunities to learn, grow, and see the world from a new perspective. They remind us that it's okay to make mistakes and laugh at ourselves. Have you ever experienced a cultural misunderstanding? Maybe it happened while you were traveling, or maybe it was right in your own hometown with someone from a different background. It's fascinating how something as simple as a greeting, a gesture, or even a smile can mean totally different things around the world. What's friendly in one place might be confusing or even rude somewhere else. So let's dive into some of the most common cultural misunderstandings, share a few laughs, and see what valuable lessons we can take away from them. After all, embracing our differences and learning from each other is what truly brings us closer together and helps us connect on a deeper level. So, grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and join me as we explore the fascinating, funny, and sometimes surprising world of cultural misunderstandings together. Let's start with something we all do: make eye contact. It's one of the most basic ways we connect with others, whether we're meeting someone for the first time or sharing a moment with a close friend. Eye contact can say so much without a single word being spoken. In many Western cultures, looking someone in the eye shows that you're paying attention and that you respect what they have to say. It's often seen as a sign of confidence, honesty, and engagement. In fact, avoiding eye contact in these settings might make you seem distracted or even untrustworthy. But in some Asian cultures, direct eye contact can be seen as aggressive or confrontational, especially with elders or superiors. Instead, looking down or away is a gesture of respect and humility, showing that you recognize the other person's authority or seniority. It's fascinating how something so subtle can have such different meanings. What feels polite and attentive in one place might come across as rude or even threatening somewhere else. Think about a time when you made eye contact with someone, and it didn't go as planned. Maybe you felt a little awkward, or you noticed the other person seemed uncomfortable. Maybe you held their gaze a little too long, or maybe you looked away at the wrong moment. These small moments can leave a big impression, even if we don't realize it at the time. It can be awkward, right? Sometimes we even laugh about it later with friends, sharing those cringeworthy stories of social missteps. But it's also a chance to learn about different cultural norms and adjust our behavior accordingly. The more we understand, the easier it becomes to navigate these situations with empathy and respect. Remember, communication is about more than just words. Our gestures, facial expressions, and the way we use our eyes all play a huge role in how we connect with others. Our body language speaks volumes, and understanding those nonverbal cues can make all the difference in our interactions with people from different backgrounds. By being aware of these differences, we can build stronger, more meaningful connections wherever we go. Time. It's something we all experience, but how we treat it can be surprisingly different depending on where we are in the world. Time is a precious commodity, shaping our daily routines and interactions. Yet our perception of time and what it means to be on time can vary greatly depending on our cultural background and upbringing. In some cultures like Germany or Japan, punctuality is not just a habit, it's a deeply ingrained value. Arriving even a few minutes late can be seen as disrespectful or unprofessional, especially in business settings. Being on time is a way to show respect for others and their schedules. It signals reliability, trustworthiness, and consideration for the group. But in other parts of the world, like Latin America or the Middle East, time is viewed more flexibly. Social interactions and relationships often take precedence over strict schedules. Arriving a little late is not a big deal. In fact, it's often expected, and the focus is more on enjoying the moment, the conversation, and building connections with others. In places like Southern Europe, long lunches and relaxed gatherings are common, and the clock takes a back seat to the pleasure of good company. Imagine showing up to a meeting 15 minutes late. Depending on where you are, the reaction could be very different. In some cultures, you might be met with understanding smiles, a warm welcome, and maybe even a joke about island time. But in others, you could be met with icy stares, a stern lecture, or even a loss of trust, as punctuality is seen as a sign of respect and professionalism. That's why it's so important to understand the cultural context you're in and adjust your expectations and behavior accordingly. So the next time you're running late, take a deep breath. Remember, time is relative, and what matters most is the intention and respect you show to those around you. Ultimately, it's all about perspective, understanding the cultural norms of the people you're with, and finding the balance between schedules and relationships wherever you are in the world. Physical touch is another area where cultural norms can clash. In some cultures, like in many Latin American countries, hugs and kisses on the cheek are common greetings, even among people who are meeting for the first time. But in other cultures, like in Japan or Korea, physical touch is more reserved, and it's important to respect personal space. Think about a time when you went in for a hug and the other person took a step back. It can feel awkward, but it's important to remember that they're not being rude. They're simply adhering to their own cultural norms. The key is to be mindful of our own cultural biases and to be open to learning about different ways of interacting. Gestures can be tricky. A thumbs up might be a positive gesture in many Western cultures, but in some Middle Eastern countries, it's considered offensive. Similarly, the OK hand gesture, where you form a circle with your thumb and index finger, is a positive sign in many cultures, but in some parts of Europe, it's considered vulgar. Imagine giving someone a thumbs up after they shared some good news, only to be met with a confused or even offended look. It's a good reminder that even the simplest gestures can have different meanings across cultures. The best approach is to be aware of the potential for misinterpretation and to err on the side of caution. When in doubt, it's always a good idea to ask. Humor is a wonderful thing, but what one culture finds funny, another might find offensive. Sarcasm in particular can be easily misunderstood. What might seem like a harmless joke in one culture could be perceived as rude or insensitive in another. Think about a time when you told a joke that fell flat. It happens to the best of us. But sometimes, it's not just about the joke itself, but about the cultural context in which it's told. The key is to be mindful of our audience and to be respectful of their cultural sensitivities. Humor is a powerful tool for connection, but it's important to use it wisely. Cultural misunderstandings are bound to happen, but instead of fearing them, let's embrace them as opportunities for growth and connection. By approaching these situations with curiosity, empathy, and a sense of humor, we can turn potentially awkward encounters into meaningful interactions. What are some funny or interesting cultural misunderstandings you've experienced? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's learn from each other and celebrate the beautiful diversity of our world. Thanks for joining me on this journey of cultural exploration. Remember, the more we understand each other's cultures, the more connected and compassionate our world will become. Keep those stories coming, and let's keep the conversation going.